Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? One of the greatest things that came out of the loss of my best friends, not only as an adult, but as a kid as well, is when I started to recognize the importance of relationships that are reciprocal. Because I think, unfortunately, a big part of what I suffered through was looking at life and going, I'm owed this, right? I'm owed you to be my friend, to show up because I showed up for you. And I do believe that there is value in reciprocation, but I do not believe that we're owed anything. So there's got to be clarity there. Like I'm fully a believer in, like, yeah, I want to have reciprocation in the way that I show up. It's massively important to me, but I'm not owed that. And so if I don't get that, instead of holding grudges, which benefits fucking nobody, what I do now is I simply go, oh, okay, actually, I'm not in alignment with this person, so I can take them out of my life. Or I go, hey, I'm not in alignment with you. Let's talk about this, figure out what's going on, maybe mend a bridge. And if not, you make the decision you have to make. And so having these losses brought me closer to not only my brothers, my actual blood brothers, but my friends, my community, partners, etc., because it put me in this position of recognizing the truth that life is very finite and it can be over in an instant, whether by your own hand, another hand, or just because it's your time. And through the grieving process around this, I really got deeper into writing. Like, journaling played a massive role for me, just as a place and an avenue to get out the emotions. Because sometimes I would sit in therapy and I would talk about this, and I would talk about the fact that I felt this massive, massive fucking sense of shame and guilt for having not gotten to apologize, for have not gotten to fix and mend these relationships with these people. And, and one of them, like, I just don't even want to bring up. It was too violent and too dark. So I won't get into that today, but it was like, I would have this conversation with my therapist and I'd go home and I'd still just be so fucking mad at myself. Like, I wouldn't even be mad at them. It's like, I'm mad at me. And I think that's one of the things that we go through when we face loss is we get mad at ourselves. We go, "Oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if?" And I think you have to sit in it and go, you don't get control over that. You don't, no matter what you think, you don't get that. And you shouldn't guilt yourself about it, because we all fuck up. We all make these mistakes. We all are trying to figure out life, and it's piecemeal, and we put it together day by day. And I think the best thing that you can do is, I remember hearing this as a kid and not understanding it till I was in a healthy relationship, was this idea that you should never go to bed at your partner angry. And I used to be like, why? Like, whatever, it's fine, like, be mad. And then I realized, like, no, that's not about being mad, it's not about being right or wrong. It's really about, you might not get tomorrow with them. And, I know people who have lost partners, who have lost people in their lives, like all of us have, who, like me, would give anything to have that conversation one more time, to be able to hug that person one more time, say, I love you one more time. And when we strip that from ourselves with shame and guilt, we carry a lot of pain. And I had that for a long time where I was just always mad at myself. I mean, this must have gone on for months, right? Because I found out in the shock. I mean, this is, God, almost a decade ago now when I found out. No, not a decade, but close. When I found out about Seth, is that hit me in this way where it was like, man, what if I would have just been like, dude, it's fine if you want to flip burgers and fries. Who gives a shit? Right? Not recognizing what I understand now, but knowing that you can take that and do something with it. And to me, I always think to myself, I guess it's in that line of live and let live. And people get mad at me or don't get mad at me or whatever it might be around my choices and decisions. I just go, yeah, there are my choices and my decisions. And if you don't like it, like, that's fine. And for those who do, or want to push back or say you should be a certain way, I just go, no, no. And that's what Seth knew. That was the thing that I didn't understand, because my trauma response was appeasement. My trauma response was to do whatever you needed, right? And so whenever people didn't do whatever I needed, it made me shut down. And now I go, "No, do you. Live your life." But my hope is that in hearing this, and of course, this isn't a grief podcast, and it's not probably the best outlay of tools you've ever heard in your life. But I do think about this. If you're going through grief, if you're going through suffering, particularly in the way that I'm looking at it, because of an indecision, then maybe it will help you to know that you can rebuild community and friendships and companionships, and you can let go of guilt and shame and the thing that you might feel in a certain way about certain things that happen with this person. And I can tell you with, I want to say certainty, but that's a weird way to phrase this in the context that I'm about to go in. I'm going to guess that the people that we have lost do not want us harboring these feelings of shame and guilt about our indecisions of bridging gaps, of reconnecting, of letting go, of healing, of not carrying shame and guilt. So maybe you got to take it a little easy on yourself about the things that you've done in your life, with the people in your life, and know that there's an opportunity right now for you to pick up the phone, and if they're still with us, to call them and make amends. And maybe they'll accept it and maybe they won't. Maybe you've done some really dickish stuff, which I have. And there are certainly people in my life, which is just the nature of the reality. There are certain people in my life that will never talk to me again. I go, okay, I understand that. No matter if I win the fucking Nobel Peace Prize, they're never going to talk to me again. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I was a fucking monster 10 years ago, 8 weeks ago, 2 days ago, 5 minutes ago, right? Whatever that thing is. And so I just think that there's always room. There's always space. There's always the ability to connect and reconnect and rekindle and hopefully go through whatever it is that we need to go through. And if you need to grieve, grieve. If you need to cry, cry. But don't beat yourself up for the things that you've said or done that you can't get back. Instead, recognize the truth that you can't get them back. And if you recognize that and understand that and hold that closely, just know that those people, even though they may not be here, probably don't have a grudge towards you. And that was one of the greatest things that my therapist told me. He was like, dude, Seth's not mad at you. He's not even here anymore. It doesn't matter. So why do you care so much that you're letting it destroy your life? And I was like, fuck, so right. So I know this is a little bit of a left field episode, but it's on my mind. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, especially as we head into, the winter and the holidays and, people gathering around and all that.